Hey, Plant Pals, Mike the Gardener. It's been about a week since my last indoor update, and I do have some things occurring here that are pretty exciting. So I'm just going to go through them quick. This is a male flower, finally got to grow on my buttercup squash that accidentally germinated inside. So I decided I'll try to grow it inside. And we've got a male flower, we've got pollen. Now I've already lost a few of the females, sadly, but you can see how their flowers are kind of closed up. That means the ladies closed for shop. And they probably, I did try to put pollen in there and see if it works. Might or might not. But we'll see. But I do have more females that haven't even opened yet. And now that I've got a couple of these males, see, this is a nice looking male. Originally I had these sad small things down here that just turned yellow and died and didn't even flower or produce pollen. But I've got this guy here, he's looking great. Got this guy here, he's looking awesome. And then there's a guy down there. So hopefully I'll be able to pollinate the new females that appear, and I can grow some squash inside, which is just for fun. All right, look at that thing, beautiful. It's huge. Look at the size of that trumpet on that. And the ladies were even bigger, but like I said, sadly their trumpets have shriveled up. But anyway, okay. And then next to that is the supposedly micro jalapeno pepper plant that is huge. This is the Arrow Garden jalapeno, and I've grown it before, no problem, in Arrow Garden Harvest, but it is just a monster of a thing that is about like 2 feet tall now. So I put it in here, took out one of the squashes that was small, I don't need it, and so and I've got flowers, so that's exciting. Get a good look at the flowers there. So I'm gonna have some jalapenos growing inside. Down below I've got Thai basil. Back there's this exact same variety of of jalapeno planted at the exact same time. And then here is another one. So these two are the twin brothers of the one that's up above. That's like 2 foot tall. So it happens. I'm not mad about it. This is my dill, which I still keep having to harvest off of. It's just growing like crazy, and it's choking out my poor lemon balm cutting in there. So I'm going to cut all this dill off again and probably put in the freezer bag for now. I do want to dehydrate a bunch of it. This is Genovese basil. So that's kind of what's growing on in my large deep water culture tub. Again, finally got a boy, which is completely backwards from what normally happens. Normally you get a ton of these and then you don't get any of the females. Well, I got all females and no males, which is pretty weird, but also cool at the same time. I'm excited to, just it's a learning lesson. I had to be patient, and now I got both, so we'll see. All right, this right here is Golden Harvest tomato plant. It's growing kind of wild and crazy. I haven't really been training it to behave, so just letting it sprawl and do whatever it wants. Here is also another of the, see, when you buy an Arrow Garden pod, oftentimes they'll have 5 or 6 seeds in the pod, and if they all germinate, just pluck them out and you can put them in a new pod and grow a new plant. So basically all the jalapenos I've shown are from the same pod. Got a little bit of baby growth there, so I'm just letting it do its thing. But you can see that there were 2 of them that grew tall and the other 2 grew short, and that could have been just because they were, but I mean, I plucked them out before they could even have a chance to really compete with each other, so who knows. Next to that is my pumpkin spice jalapeno plant. I've got 4 of them in here. We do have some peppers growing, so I don't even know if I had the beginnings of peppers last time, but I'm not quite sure if I actually had peppers that I could show, which Now I do. There we go. So it's pretty exciting. We've got more to come. So I'm excited about that. Be right back. Here is my 2 lipstick pepper plants. And as you can see, I've got a couple peppers going on with more coming. So that's pretty exciting. So it's going to be probably a couple months before it ripens up enough, grows and ripens up to harvest, but I'm very excited to even get that. I didn't know if this thing would grow good inside with all the flowers. And there are peppers. See? Peppers growing all through it. So that's exciting. And next to that is the lemon basil that, again, I just trimmed this away from the lights yesterday. So it's probably been 12 hours, and it's already up into the light. And see, oops, I'm going to try and get a focus on it. When it hits that heat and sits there, it wants to go to flower just that quick. You can see the little beginnings, the baby beginnings of what would become the basil flower. And so I'm going to cut all that off. I'm going to make a salad for Meatless Monday. And I'm going to cut way down again, about halfway down. See how you have these nodes here? I could cut any of these nodes above where the other leaves are branching off, and that'll stop it, and then they'll start growing new branches off to the side. And so this is just a huge, lush, thick plant that constantly gives me basil, but it keeps wanting to burn itself on the lights. See, you can see that round thing there. Well, if you look, the AeroGarden lights are round, and that's what happens. So you got to keep them away. This is my Fresno pepper. It's just starting to begin. Usually with the Fresno pepper, you get a few duds at first, and then once it takes off, it just goes crazy. So I'm not really even expecting much out of these little guys, because you can see how thin some of and long. Normally when it starts to take off, they grow out short and stocky, and then they grow the pepper off of it. So we'll see. Again, this one is wanting to touch the light because it's meant to be like a 4-foot tall plant, between 2 and 4 feet tall. So this is a 11-inch high unit. So I'm going to cut all the top off. I'm going to keep topping it, and then all the stuff down here is what's going to grow me the peppers. And then once it starts branching off further and further out, all those branches will start producing peppers at the end of them, and it'll hopefully stay manageable. It's a little work. It's rewarding, especially when you get, I was before the last plant got killed, I was getting 10 to 12 peppers a week off of one plant. All right, next to that is my fish peppers. Again, I still got to move this one out. This thing is really branching off, which is really awesome. So it's got the one stem down here, but look at how many different branches it has branching off. That'll hopefully grow me some fish peppers. There are little babies, like see that little baby pepper bud there? That's not going to really do much of anything. If it does, it might grow a tiny pepper. There's another little one back there. I need to top this. This is like already a good, almost, I think this unit goes up to 20 inches tall, and it's touching the top. So I'm going to have to start to train this one down to behave, and then hopefully it'll start producing off the sides. And there's about 6 of these fish pepper plants in this unit. You can see it's just a jungle, but I'm enjoying it. All right, here I'm back. Here are my small deep water culture tubs with all the herbs. Again, I'm going to make a salad. I've been harvesting off this thing pretty much daily. Giving it a good haircut, and it just instantly grows back. So if you had something like this in your kitchen, imagine how much herbs you get. So this is oregano, this is parsley, and this is sage. And you got to keep an eye on it too, because once it's going to heat up inside here, because summer's coming, spring. And even though I have the temperature set at a constant 76 degrees in my house, they seem to know when it's warm outside, so it can be 40 outside, and it somehow feels that change from being negative 40 to being plus 40, and sometimes it wants to flower, go to seed. even though it's inside at a regulated temperature. So way you combat that is you just constantly give it a haircut, and that doesn't allow it to. Above it is my lemon balm. Next to that is a unit that I still need to. I've got all these basils. I'm just going to try a basil unit. Still got to do the review on this thing, unboxing and setting up. I was going to do it Friday, but then we had a huge blizzard that trapped a bunch of people from even getting, leaving and going to work, and 250,000 people were without power. Luckily, the transformer blew right next to my house, but it was on the other side. So my lights flickered, but they didn't go out because I was still receiving power. But the poor people from that transformer on did not. They fixed it. They're pretty good about that in my state. They came out like the next day and fixed it. So that was good. All right, be right back. All right, let's take a look at my experimental shelf. Got my cool Tavizzi wood sculptures. I got my Lazy Days Ahead mug, which I'm quite proud of. And here is my orange hat tomato plant that, if you look at, has a ton and 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 ton of tomatoes. So I'm very excited because this is a delicious tomato. And then you see all the flowers. Every once in a while, give it a little jiggle. It's a self-pollinating plant. Really, not even pollen really doesn't even fall out of it. I just do it anyway because, can't hurt. You see the way the flowers are structured. Like if I touch it, pollen won't really fall out of it like some of the peppers and stuff I touch. You will rain pollen. But this is a really cool tomato plant. And it's growing in this little unit. And you can see I got like 30 or 40 tomatoes growing off that one plant. Below it, there's my thyme. This is a cutting. I'm not sure how well that's going to do. I just cut it. I just cut a peak top off the pepper and stuck it in there and see if it'll propagate. The other ones I cut propagated, so we'll see. There's my mint to the right, and here is a cutting that I took. Or no, this is the lemon balm that I did the experiment with the cocoa core to see if it would go early, and it seemed to actually work. I put a little pinch of cocoa core on the top of the Arrow Garden pod. Could it just be my imagination? It might work. I have to keep trying it. Next to that is the other dead system that I saved. That I've got the Mighty Mini cherry tomatoes. This is a micro dwarf tomato. Sometimes it'll grow. I've had some of these plants grow to where this is about. There's my finger. My finger's like 4 inches long. Up to this knuckle, this joint here is like 4 inches. And sometimes a plant will stay that size, grow outward, and produce tomatoes. They're still, again, like I said, not my favorite tomato, but still cool. Oh, gotta take the lid off this. I'm neglecting this poor guy. There's another one. Again, this is an Arrow Garden pod, an extra pod I had. And there's a couple other seeds. You can see how they grew. I could pull those out and grow some more. Oh yeah, here, look at there. This is the same Mighty Mini tomato. You can see it wants to bud, and it's tiny, which is a cool thing about microdwarfs. This is thyme that I grew in this protein bottle just to show that you can. Here's basil. Oops, let me show that. So last time I showed it, you could barely see the roots. Move this out of the way. Hopefully not knock over and spill it. But there's the roots. So you can tell from the last time I showed it, you can see just a few wispy roots coming off there. Now you can see that's on the roots. So this is a happy, brand new lemon balm plant. And so I could, if I wanted to, take this outside, put it out in my garden, or I can just keep throwing it in here. And what will happen is it'll drink the water up, and then it'll grow air roots, and I'll only fill it up to about this line here. I'll just use this as my natural line. And so the air roots can stay above here, and I'll fill it up to here every time. And I can keep it going for years if I wanted to. Or I could just take cuttings off it and keep propagating it, which is pretty fun. All right, be right back. All right, this is my Zimhu unit. that I was growing the sweet chocolate bell peppers in. I harvested all the peppers off of it, and there were a ton of flowers the last time you saw it. Look what we have here. We've got peppers. Let me go up here. I'll go underneath here so you can see this. There's a big pepper there. See if I can get my finger in there for a shot. There we go. It's a little baby pepper. So I'm pretty excited about that. It's already starting to grow. And you can see all the flowers. Let me see if I use the little bee. See if you can see any pollen fall. Oh, saw it fall off that one. It's kind of hard to see. But yeah, the pollen fell onto the leaf there. So every once in a while, I just give it a buzz. Or you can just go up to the plant, do a little jiggle, and that'll pollinate the, because it's self-pollinating, the pollen will fall within itself and grow you a pepper. So I'm excited because I really loved that sweet chocolate bell pepper. It was really delicious and really pretty, so I'm happy to keep growing it. I'll be back. All right, last thing on the tour. I wanted it to be short, and this is kind of getting a long tour, but this is the very last thing I'll show. This is my Zimhu unit that has my 4 different types of radishes growing. Radishes are funny because sometimes they'll take, sometimes they won't. You can see how skinny. These are the exact same two, so they're both pairs of the same seed planted at the same time. You got this little guy here who's skinny, not doing much, but I'll give him the opportunity to catch up to his big brother here. This one's already bulbing up. It's producing a radish, and a long radish. I forgot that this was the breakfast radish is a longer radish. And what I'll do is I let it grow thicker and thicker, and as it, like, let's pretend this one was bulbing up and the bulb was here, I would gently every day kind of pull it up, tug it up a little bit, and that would bring it up above the foil here, and so the radish ball would be up here. The roots are already would hopefully be growing way down here, and so it won't care that the bulb is sitting up above. And that's how you grow radishes inside hydroponically. Yeah, it's a little bit of a process, but it's easy. So that's the French breakfast there. This one is the watermelon, also still kind of small and not doing much. That one is kind of growing more leaves than greens than it is a stem, but we'll see. And the nice thing about these is I planted this like maybe 2 weeks ago, and at most it will probably take another 2 weeks for it to get to where I can harvest it. Maybe 3 weeks. We'll see. But it doesn't take long. It takes about a month. About 30 days from seed to harvest on a radish. And so we've got the watermelon, the purple plum. Again, that's a skinny one. We'll see. And then behind it is the purple beauty. And that one's starting to bulb up. You see how it's getting thick? And like I said, and then the one behind it, same thing. And like I said, what I'll do is I'll just gently, every day, whenever I think about it, come up and kind of just gently pull up on the plant, and that kind of forces it to come up and out of the soil sponge that it's in, and it'll really expand at that point. It'll be really happy that it's, doesn't have anything to push against. It's kind of like a carrot. If you put resistance on a carrot, it won't grow very big. But if you have really loose, fluffy soil, the carrot will grow as big as it wants to, because it doesn't have the resistance. And if you have twigs and rocks and sticks, it'll mess up with the shape and growth of your carrots. Potatoes, everything. They all kind of work on the same principles. So sift your soil and make sure it's fluffy, and you'll be able to grow things like radishes and root vegetables nicely. And same thing with onions, because I made the mistake last year in my outside garden. I planted my onions in spots that were, I used a wood mulch on the top and throughout the soil accidentally, and it was not a fluffy soil, and so my onions did not grow very well at all. I'm hoping this year I'm going to go through all that soil, sift it out, get all the sticks and twigs and stuff out of it, and add more fluffy soil to it. So I'll hopefully get a bunch of really nice onions this year. I'm really excited for that. All right. Any comments, questions, leave in the comment section. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Have an awesome day.